Hello guys, it's Mad Mechanic here. Right, how do we fit a cylinder head on a Triumph Herald? First thing we need to do is to clean up the old gasket bits. Well, we've done most of it. All it is now is just little bits of rubbish now. It's got to be absolutely scrupulously clean, which it will be when I've finished. So we just give it a good old clean, make sure that all a load of old crap all off it and everything's nice and flat, because you don't want any bits underneath it, because what happened then is you'll end up with old head gasket leaking again. So all we do is just give it a good old doobie up, get that out of the way for starters, and clean the threads. Now I had to leave these threads in because what actually happened is that they were in there so tight, and they've been there since brand new probably. What was actually happening is that they were going to snap, and I didn't really want to have to do that. So anyway, just clean a bit of bores out. A lot of people get upset with bore rust and that. There's no bore rust on this at the moment, but what I tend to do is just wipe them down so there's no grit in them really. I mean, a bit of bore rust, as soon as the engine starts up, it will scrape. If it's just light rust, it will just scrape most of it off anyway. You won't, and it'll just be gone, never to be seen again. Now I've got, looks like I've got a little bit of a blockage on one of the water things, the water jacket. So I'm just going to have a look at that and see if I can sort that out. Right, back in a minute. Right, head gasket. How do we fit a head gasket? Now, there's two ways of doing this. You've got the top end, which is like a matted finish, or there's the metal end, which is the bottom of it, and that obviously reflects the heat, right? So we put the cylinder head gasket on over the pegs like that. Job's a good one. Look at that, easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's no way of that going wrong. You can't put that round the wrong way. Okay, now in here you've got the waterways which carry water through the cylinder head back through the radiator, and you've also got some oil ways as well, okay, which then transfer oil up to the rocker shafts. But that's really, so we're going to go and get the cylinder head, because we've done all the valves and everything, and dump it on, tighten it up. Right, here we go. What we're going to do, we're going to put the cylinder head on. It's a very easy job. There's only one way you can go round, and that's that way. So what we do, line up the studs, he says. Now the beauty about these old cars is you can get your legs in and sort it out. So there's the studs. We now let it down so it rests on the cylinder head, on the cylinder gasket, just like that. Then we've got a series of bolts and washers. So you put the series of bolts and washers back on. There are a couple of bits on here. Oh, that ain't it, because obviously it is. There's a couple of bits on here that haven't got washers, because you've got a lifting eye, and also you have a bit for the water transfer from the pump to the back of the heater. So we're going to put all these back on first of all, like I think, sir, that is that. Nuts on, nuts off, nuts on, nuts off. That was an old film, wasn't it? That Karate Kid or something like that, if I remember rightly. Easy peasy, and then what we do then, we torque her up to the specifications, like they say to do. So all we do now is just putting the bolts on, like you do, then I'll get those other two bits and we will sort out the pipe work. Like I say, I've got a new transfer pipe because the other one was absolute. Got a new transfer pipe because the other one was absolutely rotten, and that fits between there like that and the water pump housing, which transfers water from the water pump to the heater, through the heater, back in through that orifice there, back into the engine. I'm pretty sure that lives there like that. So that goes on there like that. Job's a good one. And what we'll do now is just torque the bolts up, and that's the cylinder head on, and then put the rockers on, and we can adjust all the valves. Right then guys, what we're going to do now is we are going to torque down the cylinder head. Now what I've done is I've put most of the auxiliaries back on again. Haven't tightened them up. I've tightened them to the head, but I haven't tightened them down. Sometimes it's easier to do it this way than it is, because 9 times out of 10 when you do a cylinder head gasket, you usually take the whole lot off with all the bits and pieces anyway, so it just makes it easier. I don't need to go into great detail about that because it's self-explanatory really. All we're doing today is just tighten up the cylinder head and putting the rockers on, and jobs are good. So what we do is, to tighten the cylinder heads up, we've got to do them in sequence, so they've got to be diagonal. If you don't do them diagonally, what happens is then you can crack the actual head itself. Now if you've got an aluminium head like some of the high performance engines or some new engines, you'll find that you will distort the head and it will leak like a pig. It's not too critical with cast iron heads because they're quite strong, but there is a good strong possibility that you can actually crack the head by bending it, because cast iron is it's very tough, but it's very brittle. So what we do is you tighten them up between 46 and 48 pounds per square inch. I'm just gonna double check that. 46 to 48. Right, next thing we do is put the rocker shaft on. Push rods in, they're all in. Make sure they're seated in the push rod guides, and also when you put them on the top there, make sure they're seated in the ball sockets. I've had it before where they've all gone round, you've tightened them all up and you've gone, oh really? Take the whole lot off again, start again. So make sure, what I tend to do is push these back into the balls, oil them up first of all, tighten them down, start with the insides, so you start with that one there, tighten that up, 26 pound per square inch, that one, then that one, then that one, then that one. Just like I say, lock the cylinder head, it just stops everything from bending and cracking or catching up. So that's that done. Next ones we do are the valves. We do the valve, what they call the distances between the valve and the valve rockers. That's actually quite easy. A lot of people say rule of 9. So if you do number 8, number 1 should be adjusted, and vice versa. Number 7, number 4, number 7, number 3. I've never done that before. No, it's number 7, number 2. I've never done that before. What I tend to do is bring up the compression. They're going to be rocking. You know the cams on the back of their cams anyway. So then adjust these two, wind it over, then you'll get number 3, because this is 1, 3, 4, 2. You get number 1, then number 3, just them. Number 4, just them. Number 2, just them. Go round again, do another complete full cycle, and do that. I remember when I worked at British Leyland in the early 80s, and then I went on to Datsun before it went over to Nissan. I remember an old fitter there once, he saying to me, a noisy tappet is a happy tappet. And that's quite true as well. If they're too tight, then the valve will just be lifted off slightly. And all that lovely work we've done with all the valve grinding, valve seats, just meaningless then. So that's it really. I'm not going to show you how to do the valves. It's very easy. All you do is you put a feeler gauge in until a little bit of resistance. You don't want it too tight, don't want it too loose, and just slip it in, undo that nut, do that screw up, just that, blah blah blah. It's self-explanatory. It's very easy. It ain't the hardest thing in the world. all I wanted to say really is that's it really. All the accessories are on. I did a video earlier on about the engine rebuild. I didn't need to show you how to put it in, like I say, because that's self-explanatory. Where you've taken the engine out, it's a reverse procedure of putting it back in again. Also as well, the sump on, stuff like that, like I say, that's really easy. It's just self-explanatory. It's on the same way as you took it off. I just wanted to do a little few technical details. I had to do the bearings, how to do the camshaft timing, because that's really important, and various bits and pieces like that really. What we're going to do a little video next on is distributor timing for unleaded fuel. Alright, that'll be quite fun. Take care guys, I'm glad you're enjoying watching. Don't forget to subscribe and do the like bell, the ring bell, whatever it is, I don't know bloody clue what it's called. So I'm trying to get to 1,000, we're at 500 at the moment. I'm really pleased about that. So touch me, feel the love, and I will see you very soon. Take care of yourselves now guys.